Welcome back to another Unstoppable podcast. This one has been long overdue.
Again.
She's back for the third time, right?
Yes.
Third time.
Third time.
And we're going to record and talk to each other, so I'm not going to be looking at the camera the whole time because last time we recorded it and it was great. We had the visual recording. Somehow, Travis, we're going to blame it on Travis because he did, lost the video. So we're going to do video, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
We'll see.
And then we're going to do a voice recording on all our platforms. So again, this is raw, unedited. That's how we do it because that's how we do it. We do it that way because it's real organic stuff.
You don't want to miss anything.
You're not going to miss nothing.
You're not going to miss
You're
anything.
really not going to miss anything. If we fall in the chair, it's not going to maybe we can retire. So I'm going to start just by saying welcome back again. Our last podcast was amazing. If you haven't listened to the part one, part two of that, it was simply an amazing podcast by Ashley Owen. She just really shared her heart and her truth. Go back and listen to that if you haven't. She's a domestic violence survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So much.
Great story to share.
Great story to share for sure. And anytime me and Sarah Beth are in the room together, like it's awesome. We had breakfast last week or the week before.
Oh, so
it's just like we met for an hour.
We could have been there all day.
Like if you have friends like that, hold on to them dearly, especially as adults.
Yes,
because I just treasure our conversations because we truly talk about some awesome stuff, and we're like, we've got to get back in here and talk to you guys. You've got to join our conversation. So everything we say, if we get into a deep dive discussion, we love a good conspiracy theory. We love a good rabbit hole.
We love to talk about what things are allegedly doing.
Yeah, allegedly.
The things that are allegedly.
Entertainment purposes only, yeah. So, if you don't like something in our opinion, that's fine. But if you do and you resonate with stuff, that's great. And we're here just to bring value. We want to bring value to all of our listeners and especially you guys that are joining us today. So, Sarah Beth, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you for having me. I love coming here. I love getting to come and talk to you.
Here, it's awesome. So, tell us a little bit about what's been going on for you.
Yeah. So it's so funny to go from our first talk to like our third talk because even when I listen to the things we talk about, like some of it almost sounds childish just because how much time has passed, the things that, what we've talked about, and the things that we saw coming that we've been able to talk about and see the trajectory of how things within our own life experience and our business, the things we'd hoped and dreamed for coming into fruition. And so it's really cool to like think who we've been over these years now being friends and what we've grown to. So I think the biggest difference from first podcast to now is I feel a little more seasoned in life. I feel like both in what we do as content creators and in our season, in our relationship, even in our friendship, we're so much closer now that we're even able to talk about things deeper. So I think for the listener, my biggest change I've gone through being Smo's girlfriend to his wife to an artist myself, and now I've changed. Even in the past year, I've gone from more of an artist to more of management. I do all social media management for all of our platforms. So I am the real big Smo on the internet.
Yeah, this girl.
If you want a real secret, I am the real big Smo on the internet.
Keep everybody so informed.
I love social media management. I love data. I come from a teaching background. So anything that gives you measurable data, and if you're a content creator and you can look at your insights and see what's working, what's the retention rate, what kind of things really get people listening. I like that kind of stuff because it's very similar to what teaching was like. Absolutely. Kids, my students were the same as whoever's watching the TikTok. So just like a student would lose attention, a TikTok viewer is going to lose attention. Yeah. So being able to skill stack and take those different talents I have and use those from my other industries and apply them in the music industry and in the content creation, it's been fun. Yeah. It's stressful and it's hard. And it can be very discouraging at times, but having my finger on the pulse of what Smo's fans need and what they're asking for, and then to be able to fulfill that with him as an artist and a management it's been really rewarding.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And if you've never listened to our podcast before, you got to go back and listen.
Go back and listen to 1 and 2.
But Your site says Smo.
Yeah, my husband. Maybe I should have just.
Yeah, no, you're good. No, I'm sure all our listeners know that, but just in case we get one in that doesn't,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your hubby and what you're doing when you say managing his music.
Yes. So my husband is the artist, the real Big Smo. Big Smo, formerly Big Smo, now Smo. Since 2015, he had heart surgery. We went through rebranding at that point. He had lost 100 pounds from his heart surgery, and he was like, I don't want to be Big Smo anymore. So in 2015, he went through that rebranding with his first album that came out under that was the We the People. And that album we worked on together. We went to Indiana. We were in the studio together for like 18-hour days. So that was like my first time in a position. And for our relationship, we've always worked together way more before we were even like a couple, because there were so many needs that he had between having daughters that needed caring for at times and having appointments that need managing and clothes and wardrobe and different things that were going on. Yeah, that I stepped in and helped with some things, assisting on music videos and assisting with getting the lyrics typed up and submitted so that he could have those turned into the label, because back then he was still with the label. Yeah. So through our relationship of being together now 11 years, he's transitioned from being with Warner to going to a smaller label, to another label, to going back to independent. And so the past couple of years, I transitioned into being an artist myself. Yeah. Went from Sarah Beth Lewis to SB the Queen.
You're killing it.
Yeah, so and then Smo and I have had songs together. I had some independent releases. I had a release with another artist, Nitty Gritty GR. That was what we were talking about promoting the last time I was here. We were promoting that. It hadn't even come out yet.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, so it's come out now.
Yeah,
so Nitty Gritty GR, Smo and me were on that song, and we won multi-genre song of the year for the Josie Awards year before last. So that was really exciting. And so now in this past year with the Smo brand, we opened a food trailer. We had talked about that on the last episode, or the last time that we got together. And we've had a food trailer, health food advocacy. We've lost over 300 pounds together. We've been vegan for 6 years. So we've taken different parts of our lifestyle experience together and made it something that we advocate for other people to experience, and kind of like a lifestyle brand. Yeah. So Smolicious was our food trailer. We share all of our, like you were saying, we share all of our recipes, all of the resources. If you too want to learn how to live a healthier life, we have all of that at therealbigsmo.com, which is the website that I run as well. So
that's how you do it. Like I run too, and I'm like, I can't do it all.
Websites are just a beast.
That and social media.
Man, social media is a beast. So
and then you have got trolls you got to deal with, and then supporters, and it's just like the balance.
You can be inundated with support. Like support can be oppressive even at times, where it's like, great job, you're doing great, and I'm like, I have to go thumbs up every single one of these. I was like, it's okay, this is positive, but it's definitely a lot of workload,
especially running 4 pages.
Luckily he runs the YouTube page. I'm like, please take one thing or keep one thing, and to imagine he had managed all this as an artist himself gives me a lot of insight too, of like, I really, as a wife, you know your husband, hopefully, better than anyone else. And when you are so close to walking a journey with someone, it can make you very compassionate, or hopefully it makes you very compassionate of what their struggles and their temptations. And there are a lot of things that social media directly, it really eats at your pride. It eats at your vanity. Yeah. It really, you have to be very intentional, and your heart posture has to be in the right place when you post. Yeah. Because sometimes I want to post very reactive out of anger because of some things that someone said to Smo, and I'm like, hold on, I have to present as Smo, not as how this person's made me feel about my husband. Exactly. So that is a hat that I've been wearing probably primarily. That's like my main social media management, brand management has been my main role. But with this last album, let's segue into the album, and I can tell how my role has changed with that. Because so with the food trailer, we were taking, if you've never had a food business and you've never been in food and you aspire for that, it's a beautiful dream to want to share what you create with the world. Any sort of art, whether it's food, music, crafts, things that you bring to the world. But you, as the creator, know how much energy and time and value goes into it. And then you take it to the world, especially if you're in, somewhere where you have to go and sell your product. It can be very discouraging if the people aren't always there, or if you go and you make the effort to be there and the people are like, oh, we've got other plans. And that's all understandable. Right. But we had gotten to a point where always being set up with the food trailer, we were saying no to things that maybe would be better suited if Smo had been able to go to or be present at. While the value of providing healthy food to people is great, people need to have a healthy food option. The value to have the message that Smo is able to provide to people outside of that food trailer, it felt like the trailer commitment was really confining the bigger mission that's starting to play out.
Well, it served its purpose.
It served its season. Yeah. So, and without the food trailer, we never would have found this next season. I feel confident in that being in the community, seeing the need, seeing the disparity in people's health and feeling like they're so hopeless. So being able to provide hope and a message of encouragement to people that health can be flavorful, health can be affordable, health can be manageable on your own if we show you how. We just can't manage our own health and everyone else's and continue to do music and the other things.
Because there's so much about the health food journey that I didn't understand, that I learned through your website and that I learned from you, talking to you and Smo and visiting your food trailer and just seeing, like, my husband is like, salad, ew. But he loved your
salad.
He
gobbled it up.
Everything. I mean, the first time we were there, I think we ordered almost everything off of your menu to try.
It was always, I love seeing y'all at the food trailer.
We're dropping some dimes here because it's good. And those overnight oats, like, I learned to do them myself and make it at home. And I still use those gluten-free oats for everything, for the oatmeal cookies that I make my children and the cacao powder, all this stuff, because it's just a healthier
option. Refinement that you've learned.
It is. So you definitely went to a small town where there's a lot of fried and all the
food
stuff,
noise.
Food noise. And you put education in people's minds and made them think that, hey, I understand that you do that sometimes, but if you replace even a little bit, it's better than nothing. Yes. If you replace all of it, great. But you educated people. So that season was amazing.
Yes.
And like you said, it led you to where you're at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So doing the food trailer, we were able to kind of set our schedule around, we didn't want to work in the winter. So we knew we were closed in the winter. And during that particular season, my dad was really interested in just Christian content creator, kind of like keep you company content, stuff you can listen to while you're working on things that can be in the background, and I feel like as people, we desire knowledge and information and we want to know more, but we can't drop everything and go back to a classroom, or we can't always drop everything and go meet with a small group. And so these content creators are giving people an opportunity to continue to learn and feel a sense of community, even if you're not able to be together. So my dad's really been following in, and people like us who've been listening to podcasts for years, are like, okay. And he's like, this is so cool.
Yeah. He's like, do you know this?
Have you? Yeah. He's like, yeah, my dad calls and he's like, do you know who Joe Rogan is? And I'm like, personally, no. Like, have I heard of him? I feel like I grew up with him, So, but Joe Rogan had different, he's so good about having different guests on with different opinions that can speak to a wide audience of people. And so through that, he met, he reached my dad. And so my dad was listening to guys like Ruslan KD, Wes Huff, Mike Winger, and he's like, look, I'm listening to these guys. Ruslan KD is going to have a summit in California. Do you want to go? And so Smo and I are like, well, the food trailer doesn't open for another month. We've got a little time. We had some time on our schedule, and we were going as to chaperone my parents to California. Like, my parents are going all the way to California. Like, we're going to go with you guys. Make sure this goes okay, And we were at a position that the food trailer had been open for a year. We knew that it was something that we wanted to keep doing, but we knew, like, at our age and just our personalities and everything, that we're like, okay, this is not going to be a 10-year plan. We can't.
One where one
Yeah.
doing it by themselves, the other one has obligation.
Exactly.
That builds
It's tough.
resentment and toughness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it had just become this thing of like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're here all the time. Well, then we weren't at the gym like we had been, and we weren't in the studio as much. And we thought we were going to be able to juggle all the things. And we're like, okay, we've done this a year. What are we moving into next season? So when we went to California with my parents to the Bless God Summit last year, it was kind of like, let's see what God shows us. Because Smo and I have always, I grew up in faith. Smo grew up in faith. I grew up Church of Christ. He grew up Baptist. So he jokes I was in a cult. I joke that his church was like student council.
Back and forth.
Yeah, I'm like,
Healthy.
Yeah, we have a healthy appreciation for each other's differences. So, and he, it's we've grown so much in this journey, but we've always had an appreciation of, we grew up in faith, but we had turned to this point where we were more spiritual than religious. And I think a lot of our age group, we got conned into feeling like we would hurt people's feelings if we said we're Christian.
Yeah.
And you don't want to hurt people's feelings and turn them off from Jesus by talking about Jesus. So we'll subtly live like Jesus, and maybe it'll eventually come up, or maybe we might live like Jesus around some people. It's tricky.
It's very tricky. It gets muddy that way.
Yeah. And Smo and I, we don't drink. So we had already become very anti the bar scene and the performing scene and all that, because we're around people that aren't aligned with our values. So when we went to California, we're like, we'll go to this Bless God Summit, open mind, open heart. And he and I have always been very, if where the Spirit moves us, and
just go where, like, God,
let's see what happens, and it was really profound, because the whole process to get to California is already like, by the time you get to the conference, you're like, I'm ready to sit down. And it was like, we flew.
Okay,
and then
that's still jet lag.
And everything that could have gone a little more complicated did. We got held at security a little longer for real IDs and all the weird things. And then we get there and the room's not ready, so we're gonna miss our VIP section seat. Little things that either the enemy or time or whatever. So we're like, what are we doing here? And we get through, the first night, and so many people were saying so many things that were really like hitting on a point that we were in our marriage and professionally where we were at. Of a lot of people were changing seasons and not knowing what was next, how to prepare for the next thing. And so the very first night of being in California, Smo was like, I really think I'm supposed to be here.
Oh.
And if you are a woman of faith and your husband has not always been the leader of faith, for him to say something like that, I was like, okay, I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I'm listening. I'm on your team. Like, whatever's said to us, we're here for it, And so the next day, there were two things that were said that were so just like, when something's been said to you and you're like, 10 years from now, I'm going to remember how that made me feel when someone said that to me. One of the creators said, do not accept criticism from someone you would not seek counsel from. And it was Pastor Ed that said that, from the CBC church in Texas. And I remember that, like, renewing and making me take this, because sometimes I feel like we've fallen this, like, I felt so criticized and I felt so like, this is just what it is. And it's like, no, these people that are criticizing me are not people I go to and ask for guidance. And so to receive that felt like a good kick in the pants in a good way, of like, quit letting people bring you down that aren't gonna lift you up in other ways. And the other was, if you have a platform and you are not using that platform to glorify God, you're going to have to answer for that. And it was like the moment that was said, like there was a genuine, like, Smo shifted in his chair. And I'm like doing math in my head of adding all the platforms together. And his reach alone is over 1 million people.
Yeah.
And we were both like, ooh, like, how many times have we used the platform to say, go party, go have fun, go not care, go self-indulge, go self-pleasure, go all these things, go forth in sin, basically. And, you know, Smo's got plenty of songs that are clean and uplifting and positive. But there was a real, like, realization that we aren't using our daily platform to give glory to God and give gratitude for how wonderfully we've been blessed.
Yeah.
And there's always this assumption of, oh, I'm thankful, oh, I'm grateful, oh, I'm so glad. But we had not been bold and brave enough to use his platform to talk about our conviction and our faith. And use that platform as an example to show others how you can repent.
Yeah.
And how you can find redemption and how you can grow in your faith daily. I think, you know, there's this quick jump to think that people are disingenuous because they change, that it's like they're going to be perfect after that. You know, so there were some things that we had to make measurable to his kinfolk, to his fan base. What's going to be something when we go home that they're going to notice a difference in you? Well, Smo as a persona cusses a lot. We as people, like, we cuss a lot. And I don't know if that's it's definitely not my upbringing because my parents aren't like that. It's the music I listen to, it's the environment I was in, it's not really believing that self-control and out of the mouth is the overflow of the heart. There have been things that were like, okay, if I have this platform and I'm proving to people, or not proving, but I am showing to others that I am willing to repent and make a change. And we came home and he's like, no more cussing. So music, there's no cussing when he's in his podcast, when he's in his interviews, when he's doing his ministry. And that, through that self-control in his brand, it's trickled into him as a person. And some people may say, oh, well, that's not genuine. But it was definitely
that's his conviction. That was his conviction. That's not for them to decide.
Yes, it definitely transformed by transforming the persona that he was living for everyone else. It's definitely transforming who he is, because John Lee Smith, the person, had to change his heart to decide that Smo, the persona, is going to change his behavior.
Yeah.
And so we've spent the last year, he said, you know, my music's going to glorify God now. That means we're not making secular music anymore.
Yeah.
And in a call to make faith-based music, you have to make sure that your music's glorifying God.
Yeah.
You know, so he's even taken like scripture and putting it in. And now he's got where, you know, I have been one that would be like, well, maybe if Eminem rapped the Bible, I'd know the Bible word for word. Well, you know what? Smo is rapping Psalms and First Timothy, and like he's putting verses in his scripture now, and you catch yourself like, God has not given me the spirit of fear. And I'm like, oh, how am I quoting Bible verses?
Yeah.
It's in the Smo music now. You know, so I think this, the heart change that happened last year after being at the Bless God Summit, when he came home, we were so different that when we opened Smolicious, even that was, you know, we're trying to share with people, like, this is God's food that you're eating. And we've been very, you know, I would use words like the creator and things to avoid making people uncomfortable with my faith. But now I'm like, I don't worry about making people uncomfortable. I just want you to join me in being as joyful and hopeful and all these things. I feel like I've tried to be careful to not be too Jesus-y. Now I'm like, I can't care anymore.
No. Well, it's not like, I mean, before we even had this conversation at breakfast a couple of weeks ago, like, I knew that we used to see a shift in a good way.
Right.
And I was like, there's a story behind it. Can't wait to hear it. But you're not forcing it and Bible beating people in the head. You're
Mhm.
not. You're
Mhm.
doing it in a way that honors God, but it also is relatable to people to come in and ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing that I've learned with like platforms that I've done is a lot of people have been hurt by religion. I think they've
Mhm.
strayed away. Like I grew up in a very strict Church of Christ background,
Mhm.
and there's some amazing people at that church. Like I think they will be on the front row of heaven if that could happen. Like there's one Miss Gillentine. She is a angel on earth. I love that woman the day she dies and then some. But then there's also people that have put a lot of hurt and judgment,
Yeah.
not knowing any better, which we talked about before on
Mhm.
the last podcast. And I think that I always pray like, God, give me the words that I don't come across too preachy that turns others away,
Yeah.
but brings opportunity for you to
Yeah.
be, you be
Yeah.
glorified. Essentially, is what I'm trying to say. And I think that's what you're doing.
Well, and we're called as a believer to give an answer for the hope that we have with gentility.
Yes. And
You got to be gentle to people.
gentle, and people like us that have had those religious hurts
Mm-hmm.
and know that at the end of the day they're just people that are trying to do what they think is best in the word. They're just
Some people, and some people are evil.
Yeah, some people are.
There,
excuses
and now coming to a point to where I am in my life, and where we are in our culture, and the way that we are in our world. I'm not convinced that some of the people that were in the congregation that I grew up with may not have been sent just to cause chaos.
Oh, I believe
and just to cause disorder, and just to, because the Christian faith in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s was growing so fast and authentically, and the power of the Holy Spirit was growing so powerfully through people organically, that bigger people were threatened by that. And they were sending people into churches to mess churches up.
And this is, you can fact check.
This fact check. I can't fact check. It's my church, but
no.
I'm not even going to say my church, the church that I attended, but
there's things called, operating talking pastor, all the things. If you really want to go rabbit,
yeah.
we'll go there.
MK Ultra was so threatened. The Illuminati was so threatened by the Baptist church movement.
Yeah.
Because Baptist people, y'all are doing it. Real Baptist people that are real with the Lord and Jesus, their faith is so powerful, they scare the Illuminati.
Yeah, exactly.
You scare the Illuminati Baptist people. And if you know some real Baptists, you understand why. They love the Lord. And the Lord is their Savior. And He's not only their Savior, He is their Lord.
Yeah.
And if the Lord is lording over your life, people aren't even going to ask you questions. They're going to know. And you're going to scare the devil. The devil's not scared of who he already has.
Exactly.
The devil is scared of the people who are trying to bring more people to the faith. And that's scary too, because the devil doesn't mess with you when you're on his team. Hey, and guess what? The devil doesn't even like you. Yeah. That's the worst part. You think that you are giving back to this great rebellion when you sin, and you're not.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not. You're not contributing to this greater rebellion of bad. Like, no, you're just messing up your own opportunity to have more good. Yeah. That's all it is.
What you said there, I love that. I've heard that before, and I absolutely love it.
The devil hates you.
He hates you.
The devil hates you.
And the fact that he's going to leave you alone. So if you're never bothered and life is perfect, check. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm not saying that there's not been instances where people have complete Christian people. But if you're usually, if your life is perfect, you're never being bothered, you never have trial, you never have tribulation. Are you really walking the faith?
The devil hates to love you. He loves to hate you. He definitely loves to hate me, but he hates to love people that are so comfortable in their comfort.
I always say, I'm like, man, I always wonder, like, am I doing enough, God? I'm like, with all the trials, I must be one of your big warriors. Like, yes, sign me up. Like, he's like, I got that little girl, that little boy-headed girl. We're gonna put her in the front row again. She can handle it.
Y'all, and like, it's patience and bravery and courage. You don't pray for these virtues and receive the virtues. Yeah. You pray for the virtues and you receive the trial.
Oh, yeah.
And it's how you pull through that is if you gain the virtue or if you lose your salvation, and it's not funny. I'm not laughing at it, but that's
it's the truth. It's not funny matter what we're trying to mock the situation, but it's the truth because we're laughing because it's common. If you really think about it, it's truly common sense, but we make it so hard and confusing and almost intangible.
Yeah.
And we forget grace.
Yeah.
We forget to show ourselves grace.
Yeah.
The enemy is always like, well, you did this. You're not good enough.
Oh, the lies of the enemy. The accuser.
The accuser.
Yeah. And he can't, like, the devil can't actually do anything.
No.
He's sent to make you do everything,
Heart of confusion. I spoke
destroy, deceit.
Yeah.
Like
I told some girls this weekend at a women's retreat, I said, one of my things I was talking about was distraction. He may not always attack you, but he will distract you.
Big time.
And that can be causing a worry or cause a conflict or hostility with this person or money problems or whatever. And sometimes, life is hard. It's just a situation, but a lot of times it's distraction. He wants you to be distracted. ADD, whatever. I know I'm the world's worst with it, but I could have such a good idea and a message that I want to put on TikTok or a live I want to put on TikTok that I know will save somebody or maybe help somebody.
There's no internet.
Yeah, no internet or the kids.
Wrong aspect ratio.
Yeah, Cohen's like, I stubbed my toe, or me like, crap, I got to get that stuff out of the washing machine that could wait, but I think I have to do it just in an urgency, just life.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the enemy uses your kids, and I'm not saying that. So don't.
No.
We're not saying that. But what I'm saying is he's an art of distraction to keep you busy. So you can handle that situation and go back. But what the enemy loves to do is to create more situation, more conflict. That way we stay away from where we're supposed to be in our calling.
Yeah.
You can tell the Holy Spirit just took over this conversation because we were talking about Smo, and all of a sudden we're like, and this is.
I mean, I found out now if you talk about Smo long enough, the Holy Spirit is going to take over. And it's so crazy because that's something that's happened throughout our whole course of our relationship. So I become very like emboldened when people are like, oh, Smo got saved. And I'm like, well, I would not have married a man that was not, I hope to God, I'm very thankful I was able to marry a man that believed in God because that was something that was in my value set of my standards. And there, some of his songs, if you listen to it, the very first song, Redneck's Got It Right, Jesus is Lord, Cash is King. I mean, it's facts, like he said Jesus is Lord off the rip of the song, And so there's like a handful of things that I have known about him and I've seen about him, but he was with a label. He was with different management. He was with another different, group label. Like it's not always fashionable to sing about your faith. And if your music is being displayed and played at places where sin is the main goal, like it's kind of hard to make music for that anymore, so we've had this like transition in, which this is cool. Fans that have been saved quit listening to Smo because of his music and are now like, I'm back.
Oh, that is so cool.
And that has been so cool for people to go, I had to take a break because of my own spiritual walk, but now I'm back all the way in, because we have this Smosis album has 12 songs, and the role that I got to change through our marriage and as a woman in the music industry for Smosis, I worked as an engineer. So I was the one on the computer. He was in there recording, and I'm like, no, you can do that again. Okay, let's do this. Okay, run it back. Okay, let's do that. So there aren't a lot of women producers. There aren't a lot of women engineers. And for him to put me in that position and go run that computer and know I can do it. It was something I did for myself before I was even working for him because I had to record special ed tests when I was a teacher because I was a Spanish teacher. No one else could read aloud the Spanish tests for my special ed kids. So the kids who had read aloud needs and requirements for their testing, I was recording my test and giving it to them. So I was prepared for this. Yes. And so there again is a talent that I've been able to stack from something else for the kingdom now. Yeah. That it's like, I took this ability to record myself on Audacity. It looks the exact same as this program that Smo records his music. I hop in and he does all the hard work, but it still is a job for someone to sit there and record so he can go over his vocals, so, and get those vocals and send them on, or for him to work on. So for Smosis, for me to get to be in the position as engineer is not only a big deal for myself professionally, but also for the music industry. That there is a woman working in faith-based music in this weird country rap rock position, and I'm hopping in there and I'm helping get this music out there too. So it's been really cool to get to be, I've been in other positions as far as like background vocals and writer and other things, but to get to know for sure, like these are songs I helped record on this album has been really amazing.
He trusts, like, just seeing y'all together, he trusts you. You have that connection that is only a spiritual connection.
Yeah.
Because, and that's before, like, he even got, I say now he's always had the core, but now he's been activated.
Exactly. Exactly.
And when he pours into anything, and same for you, just from knowing you, the 4 years or so that we've known each other, you're going to give it 100%, and then some. And so is he.
Yeah.
And incredibly talented. He's incredibly talented. You are too. You've got a good ear for music. You can listen. You both complement each other very well in the studio.
Thank you.
And you can tell with your art that you've already released.
And like we've been in the studio together 11 years.
Like,
if we don't click by now, like it's
conversation. Like, even when you were recording, so I was like,
oh yeah,
you can do this better.
Yeah.
And he would pull it out.
You pull it out of each other. You have to. Yeah.
And you can take that because you're not trying to hurt each other. You're trying to help each other. And I think that's so cool. Like, shout out to the women in the studio engineering, Sarah Beth.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
And so funny because when we were doing our breakfast, like, me and Sarah Beth have so much to talk about when we catch up on our breakfast sessions or Burrow Bow, shout out to them.
Yeah, Burrow. Hey, Tasha.
Yeah. But we're like, we need to do like a spreadsheet or something. And she sent me notes of highlights of things we need to talk about and catch up on and stuff. And I was laughing so hard. I told Travis, I was like, how about she just said she won a Josie Award like it was nothing? Like, I was like, and then this is a Josie Award. Like, that's a big deal. Like, we should be celebrating, having a party. You're like, oh, it's just, it's just another new check mark.
Woo, yeah. It was cool. It is cool. And, it's accolades and accomplishments, and achievements. They're cool and they mean something. I think it was cool. I think it's cool because I know who all worked on it, with Nitty Gritty GR and our producer Josh Bright and Smo. Like, it was a real collaborative effort. And so I like that I can stand behind a project that won an award. And the team won together. Yeah, and the team won together. And it's a fun song and we have a good time with it. So so I did win a Josie Award. That was cool.
That was cool.
So one of the things that I think when we were talking about this, how the food trailer led to the ministry coming together, that led to the music and all that, getting back at it. When we were set up for the food trailer, when we had come back from Bless God, one of his friends who like helped him write Kicking It in Tennessee, like this guy's been around forever. He comes up to the food trailer and he's like, hey, I do jail ministry. I'd love for you to come with me. And so Smo's like, I guess I'm going to jail.
You're like, what?
And so his homie, who's always been TD to us, is Pastor Tommy. And his fire and his passion for God and his conviction for Jesus is just it's contagious. And he's taken Smo with him into the jail. And now he's gotten the opportunity to go and see these guys in his own town. Smo was in the workhouse for like a week before, so he does have some jail time to understand what it's like to be deprived of your freedom because of consequences of your choices. And so just to have the opportunity to kind of level the ground with the guys to be like, I've been here and I've been here. I've been at both ends of the swing. You can have nothing and be hopeless. You can have everything and be hopeless. If you don't have Jesus, you still have nothing. Right. And I think Smo being able to share his story of being at the very top of the world and still feeling like he had nothing because he wasn't standing firm on his faith with Jesus and in that walk with his faith at that time, he knows that success doesn't matter. Like, who cares if you have $1 million tour and you have all these fans cheering, you have all these things if you still feel so empty and lonely. And he knows that true loneliness and void can only be filled with knowing that Jesus is your Lord. Yeah. And so going and sharing that message with these guys, I think has been really humbling for him, obviously, but also for the people in our community to realize, like, oh, wow, this guy was on TV and this guy had it all and everything, and he still wasn't happy, and we hear that so often, and we know, even King Solomon tells us more money, more problems, like having everything doesn't make you figure anything out, and I think being able to go into that and having a heart of ministry and now being able to go and take it to the people who need it most and take that message where it's needed most, to the greatest need, and to the biggest group that can receive it. He's been going to the Bedford County Jail, and through that, some guys ended up going to rehab. Some people have left lives of homosexuality. People have experienced sobriety for the first time in their life. People have gotten their kids back. So, like, in just a year's time, by Smo choosing to change and glorify God, people are living their lives now.
Set free.
They're being set free. Chains are being broken.
That might be why he was under so much suppression before, because the enemy knew what kind of shakeup he was going to do for the kingdom of God.
Oh, and when you see what you're able to accomplish when you realize you're not in charge anymore, and he came to me and he said, he's always saying, I'm the king of the country, the boss of the sticks. And he was like, I was so humbled when I realized Jesus is the boss of the sticks. Yeah. Like, I've done nothing. Yeah. I've done absolutely nothing, And that humility that comes from realizing your salvation is a gift and your relationship with God is a choice, and taking that more as like, it's a responsibility and not a burden. Yeah. And it's a joy to have faith. Has really changed how he shares it with others. And through that, like, I've been able to blossom. A lot of people don't know I come from a mission background. So I did a month of mission work in Africa. I did 3 months of mission work in Honduras. And like, both of those experiences for me were two completely different things. Like in Tanzania, it was 50% Muslim, 50% Christian. They did call to prayer for Islam like 5 times a day. Like, I saw what living in a country without the trickle down, because we have the watershed of Christian values in our country that protect us. We don't realize like how many joys and comforts that we experience, especially as women, come specifically from being in a trickle down of a Christian country and nation. So to be able to see what it would be like in a country that, yes, there's religious freedom, but that majority religion is not what we're used to, that creates different trickle down within the culture. And so experiencing that in a young age, I came back very bitter. Like, I had like reverse culture shock, and it made me very grumpy at Americans and very grumpy at how well we had it and how gray Christianity is in America, because like, you have people that are like, I can't say names, allegedly are witches, but are also baptizing their children in the Jordan River. So it's like, how in Western culture and our entertainment, when it's become so muddy of what's good and bad, and so I have walked these different times of feeling like it's too gray. It's too gray. Yeah. And it's too hard, that you fall into this position of complacency of, I'm gonna live my own life, I'm gonna worry about me, y'all do y'all, and mission work pushed me directly into that, because I had not enjoyed knocking on people's doors and telling them they were going to go to hell.
Yeah, you're just like, that's something I want to wake up and do on a Saturday morning.
Right. And then when I lived in Honduras, our mission was more live like Jesus, so that they ask, why do you live so well? And so it was a different approach in a different way that had positive, that can have positive and negative things. So like, I come from where my ministry and my mission work had caused me to become a little bitter and had caused me to not want to share my faith as much. That to now be in a position to where it's like, okay, we're gonna use this platform now to talk about truth, like you and I've said, that's really important, is that the gray approach and the watered down and the, kind of answers. Like, I can't be like that anymore.
No,
and this is what we stand on. These are the standards that we draw our faith from. This is our creed for our life, is based on these values. Like, we have a set core belief, and it's
you're gonna have critics no matter what.
Yeah,
you did. I mean,
well, people love you when you don't say no.
Yeah, they love when you don't say no. Even when you were just, doing, your food truck, you had critics. When you were just doing the music before, the second music before, you had critics.
Yeah,
you're gonna have critics now. Being a person of faith or a Christian does not mean that you're not going to have adversity from people. That's right. Because you're gonna have that.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus had it in the Bible.
Yes.
It's how we respond to it and not letting them steal our joy in where we're at. And I think this is growing and being older in a season that I'm having to really lean on God. Like I told you, my son last night, 9 years old, if he's going to be a prophetic speaker one day, I don't know what. God was all over that kid, and he's just like, we don't need to worry. God's got everything. And are you a winner, not a quitter?
You're a winner, not a quitter.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I'm just, it's God. Because God speaks through children. He speaks through music. He speaks through just seeing something
other people.
outside. Other people. You might be driving down the road and see something that triggers, like, oh my gosh, I know that's God's way of winking at me, like, no, He's with me. Like, and so if you're listening and you're not of faith and it sounds you're so confused at what we're saying, reach out to us. We'll have a conversation.
And I think when you said distractions, it hit on something that I was thinking about before I came here, of like conversations we'd had in the past, publicly, personally, and then, preparing for this, is that one of my biggest distractions is my phone. I think it's everybody's. And you get so inundated with information. And I, over the past few years, had found myself drawn to new age thinking, and had gotten really into, and being in the health community and the holistic community, it kind of like spirituality comes as a part of it. If you really believe that you're healing yourself, you have to believe that your spirit is part of it. I'm gonna go back in that microphone. Your spirit's part of who you are. So sorry. And through that journey, I became very distracted with, and it's not to discredit any practices or other things, but I was getting very distracted from prayer to God. I was getting distracted from reading the Word of God. I was getting distracted from spending time with God, and it was becoming more self-love, self-help, and you can only help self so much.
Yeah. And that's the thing. All that can go hand in hand together if Christ is the center.
If Christ is the center.
Like, I like what people call grounding. I like to go out there and just be in the sun and walk on the grass. And some people are like, oh, are you some kind of hippie or what? No, I'm enjoying the beauty that God's created.
Yeah, God's creation.
Just because, like, people are like, well, you can't manifest and be a Christian. I'm like, yes, you can't be sitting there casting spells on people and things like that. But you can call to action and speak things that you want to see fruition, because God gives you the desires of your heart.
Right.
Like, you don't have to let the enemy rule over your mind. And for such a long time, even as a Christian, I let the enemy rule over my mind. Yeah. And I had to understand grace, forgiveness from past mistakes, forgiveness from future mistakes, because we're not perfect. We're going to sin. I will tell you, one of the hardest things is I was not raised around cussing. My granny Dean said, the S word all the time. But I will tell you, like, I love Jesus, but if I hard break or something, it might pop out of my mouth.
Oh yeah,
just because. And we're not saying that you have to be perfect, because you're looking at two imperfect people. We're saying transition and trying to live right. I look at it this way, Sarah Beth. Like, my 9-year-old, loves the Lord, and we know it. He talks about it. But there's things that he does sometimes, like, hey, Cohen, need to clean your room. I don't want to right now. Whatever. But let's say he'll clean his room. Is it going to be how I would clean it? No. But the fact that he tried,
right,
and that he put forth effort, and he truly, genuinely was trying to do a good job, I'm so proud of him.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how God looks at us.
Right.
Like, we don't have to get it all right. That's where grace comes in. That's why I want you to understand when we're talking. We're not saying you have to be perfect. We're talking about our convictions of where we're at in life and our transitions where we came into.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect. We're going to mess up today. We're going to mess up tomorrow. But that's where grace comes in, and we're trying to live right. And I think I heard this when I was at Impact at Lipscomb University, and it stuck out, especially, after being divorced and going through the trials of life that I've had. It sticks out even more. And I told my brother when he was going through stuff in his life, I told him this too. The diamond shines the brightest behind the darkest velvet.
Yeah.
And that is so true. And even Cohen, when he was doing his prophetic talk last night at 9 years old, he even, when I told Sarah Beth before we started recording this, I said, I know God uses children, that God was all over my child last night, and some of the things he was saying had to be God using him as an instrument to get a message to me. Because he even said, I didn't tell you this part, when we were pulling in the driveway coming back from Dollywood, he said, Mama, if you don't go through hard times, you don't know, you don't, I can't remember exactly what he said, like, you don't know what it's like to help other people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you even know that at 9 years old? Like, how do you get that wisdom to translate it to an adult? Like, he's a smart kid, but that's something a preacher would be saying, So, as in the words of my 9-year-old, like, we have the people that go through the hard things and we go through the adversity, we can relate.
Absolutely.
We can be genuine to people.
And those who've been forgiven much, love much.
Love much.
And if you've been through a hard time, then hopefully you're more compassionate with the people that you deal with on a daily basis. And I think it's just, unfortunately, we live in a culture, and I mean, even the Bible says a lot of people will claim my name and not really know me. And so I think it's that personal relationship being your goal. And that when people, because so often people may be like, oh, well, if you're a Christian, your life's gonna get easier, or this or that and the other. And it's like, no, it's not necessarily that life gets easier. It's that I am better equipped to handle the hard times, because I know this isn't all there is. This isn't. It's already won. It's done. I just gotta get through this. And whoever is not going to receive justice here, as they should. My sister and I were talking about this on the way, because with the files being out, how you and I are such, we seek truth, we seek justice. Those are the two things that we really want for people who have been in a victim scenario specifically. If you find yourself being overwhelmed, and my sister was telling me this, if you're overwhelmed with the people not getting justice right now, they will know that they will get justice. And if you believe, and if you are strong in your faith, it gives you hope that, one, it's not my job to bring vengeance to these people. As angry as I get, and as emboldened as I get to feel so bold to go and take matters into my own hands, it's not really my job. That's the Lord's job to vengeance, to avenge all these things. So he will bring justice. He will bring the revenge. And I hate that for the people who have experienced the suffering that they've experienced here. But the same hope for them is that you're going to be so vindicated for the things that have happened to you, and blessed, hopefully, for if you continue in your walk with God and believe that he has a plan for you and the will for you, that he is going to use you in spite of how horrible a circumstance may be. And I have to have faith in that, because I haven't been through something as terrible as these other people. And it's really easy to say that to someone who's been through something so horrible. But Jesus went through something so horrible and still tells us it's worth it, So I find a lot of faith, especially with the people. We've been doing a lot of work with juveniles. That's been one of the things that's trickled down from going to the jail, is we've gotten to go and meet these children in juvenile detention. And knowing the stories I know from the children, from the things that they tell, obviously being an adult, I know, like, these are your parents. Like, your parents are what got you. And these poor babies are just acting out of the environment that they've been put in. And so sometimes I think of that grace that I give those juveniles, of their babies. They don't know better. That is the hope that I have for the grace that I will receive, so much greater from God, of like, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Like, we have no idea, one, how this was supposed to go. And to try to be light in darkness, Jesus knows is hard. So to be called to that position and to be walking that faith and having people like you as accountability partners, but also as someone to lean on when it is hard. And I think that's something people who don't have faith may not have is community.
That word is such, we need it.
And I think that's when church gets misconstrued and people start having church hurt and feelings, as it's, you know, the power of what a community around you holding you in your faith is so important, you know. So
and that's hitting on community. Like I can call Sarah Beth, or I could call the girls in my Bible study on Wednesday mornings, and these girls, including you, Sarah Beth, if I need you to pray for me, if I need to send a text just to vent because I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I know I got to pray, but I don't even have the words to pray. Like I'm going through something, I'm stressed. Same for you, same for them. I can send it and know that they've got me, that you've got me.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Because that is what community is. And that's why it's so important to find your people. And that can happen at church. That can happen as you get older. I really feel like adult friendships are the ones that you cherish forever. And I'm friends with people from childhood that I am close, sisterhood close with you and these women from my Bible Babies group. And I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
Because I've never had that. Like I've been hurt by, you know, I know we've all, like I said before, we've all been catty. We've all been the girls, right? But you grow up and you learn. But I've been hurt by women before. And for me to be completely vulnerable and just to be able to share things with you in our friendship, I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that with those girls on my Bible Babe group. But I just feel like one thing that a lot of people are missing is that.
Yeah.
Because they don't have anybody to talk to.
No. And if their friendships aren't based on the fruit of the Spirit, they're not having real friendships. If you're not experiencing love and joy and peace and patience and goodness and kindness and faithfulness and self-control, like if the women, because I feel like we speak to women mostly, if you're not surrounding yourself with women who are trying to cultivate and harvest and produce good fruit, your female relationships are going to suck. Because what's the opposite of love? What's the opposite of joy? What's the opposite of peace? If that's the kind of fruit your friends are farming, you're going to have a sucky friendship.
Yeah, and it's going to be turning and chaotic.
Always. It's always, if you are friends with someone who is not healed, and if you are a woman of faith seeking friends who aren't in the same fruit of the Spirit mindset as you, especially when it comes to self-control, you know, I have to be careful with the kind of women that I'm around because I don't want to be caught up in impulsivity and compulsivity. And I feel like I've had female friendships before. We're very, do whatever. Yeah, whatever. That's not self-control. Like that's not practicing self-control. And if you're not having this same way, if you are in a marriage, like my marriage, I strive very hard to keep this hierarchy of God, husband, me. And my husband respects me like Christ loves the church. Like we have this system that works. It's really hard to be friends with people if their marriage isn't like that. Because it's hard to be couple friends if we don't view our roles as wives the same and they don't view their responsibility as husbands as the same. And so having these convictions and having these standards weeds a lot of people out, which kind of sucks. But it also calls to you, it calls to you the people who are going to edify you and who are going to hold you accountable and who are going to keep wanting God's will to happen in your life. And not everyone wants God's will for you.
They don't. And also, when you say that too, you know, just knowing the gut feeling that we get sometimes, when you pray for discernment and you're like, I don't know discernment, I don't know how to do this, like this religion stuff's new to me. You know, the gut feeling that you have, like when somebody calls you and you have that thing in your throat or your stomach, like, gosh, my energies get ready to be drained or whatever. I say people that are empaths really feel this way.
Yeah.
Like you just feel it's not easy, you dread it. that's God telling you something.
Yeah.
And you need to pray for more clarity in that. Like that's something's off.
God likes to talk to you.
Yeah.
Like he wants to have a dialogue. It's not just you making requests and putting in suggestions. It's not like the Costco suggestion box, you know. There is a dialogue. And if you look in the Bible, there are several instances of like God's just walking, talking with you. And so um if you are constantly in prayer and you're constantly in God's word, these answers will come to you so they will be revealed to you so plainly that you won't have any doubt in your mind of what the calling is, especially if you're talking to God all the time, not just when you're in a pinch and need a favor. Like you have to have this constant conversation of show me the will that you have for me. Show me what I'm supposed to, you know, and even down to closing Smolicious. We prayed on that. And there have been people to get on Facebook and go, you need to pray about that. I'm like, you think I haven't?
Yeah.
You think I haven't?
I just woke up and said, no more oats today. No
yeah,
for you today.
no for you. No for you no more. Yeah, no, so and I would love to do all these suggestions that the people on the internet who have no idea of my circumstance suggest would be a better thing for me to do. And you know, in an ideal world, I would just give Smolicious away to somebody and y'all go be us. But like it's not how business works, first of all. And our time that we're being called to now, you know, Smo, once he went to jail ministry that one time, the whole season of Smolicious after that basically was like, okay, now we're doing ministry and running the food trailer. So we had always had the goal of, okay, we're just going to do the food trailer, but we were doing music in the food trailer. And then it's like, okay, we're just going to do the food trailer. Then he started doing ministry and taking guys to rehab and some other things that it was like, okay. So that's now where we're at the season of, we've asked God very, very boldly, please show us. And it just keeps going back to, this has been your season. You've had that season. Anytime we've tried to push it, something, anytime that we've had our mindset that, you know, well, we could, something has, so it's like God will show you. And if you push back, he's either going to show you through a trial or a hard time or some, or he'll just slam the door right in your face and be like, stop it. So that's where we've gotten to the point with Smolicious is we have been, what's your will, God? And it keeps going to this, you've had this season, you've had this, you've done this served. And so now that's where Smosis came. Smosis was born. We Smo loves Moses. That's his favorite Bible. He loves Moses. He's always loved Moses. And even before he moved into the gospel thing, he's always had Moses as like his icon.
You know, people don't think he's trying to like.
No, this is not new.
Coming to Christ. He's like, this is an album cover
for his. He loves Moses. Yeah. I love the Charlton Heston Moses personally. That's like my favorite depiction of Moses, the 1950s. Those tan legs. So through Moses is where Smosis comes from. Is has always been his favorite Bible character. And I think what he loves most about Moses is that Moses doesn't know who he is. You know, he always wants to know who he is. And I feel like we all struggle with that, regardless of if we were put in a river and taken from our real mother or not. Like, you can know who your biological parents are and still feel like And I think that is what calls us back to God, is that constant yearning of feeling like, I know there's something more. But with Moses, I think that he loved that even through his journey and being called by God and being chosen by God, he messed up so many times, like big mess ups. Like, he didn't even get to go into the promised land kind of mess ups, but he was still loved by God and still chosen to do something so great in history. And I think that really resonates with Smo, of like, even through all this journey, of all the places, all the things he's got to do, you know, because he's got to live so many childhood dreams that even though his message was not always about God, God has blessed and breathed life on his journey, even to the point that he's been able to see a whole other, you know, career now with the faith-based aspect of his music. So we were nervous writing the music, making the music, putting the music out. People were wanting to work with him. He's like, sorry, you have to give glory to God, no cussing. Some people were like, okay. And some people were like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And through that, you know, other artists have been able to put out faith-based music by working with Smo. So their fan base now has access to a new message. And we were really just like praying over the release, praying over how it was going to be received. And I mean, the numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie.
And, you know, when you listen to the song, like, it's so catchy. Like his album. Just tell people there's 12 songs on the album.
There's 12 songs on the album.
What's your favorite song so far?
Oh, I don't.
There's a lot, but a good one.
Okay, so right now, specifically, the song that we're focusing on is "Lift Me Higher." It's like the big worship song. It's probably the most like worship based song. It was written with D. Stevens, who's an incredible songwriter of the year, BMI Awards, very, very talented. I've had the joy of being very good friends with D. Ray's wife, Tara. So she's one of my best friends because she understands what it's like to be in the industry, you know. And you and I have talked about so many things of like understanding what it's like to be the wife of an artist. And now turn artist myself. Like there are things that she has been a part of in this journey that only she understands. Just like how there have been things that you know about our journey that like people don't understand, you know, what it takes in the industry and the compromises that can be made or expected and the sacrifices that are expected, you know, and sometimes if you're not willing to make these compromises, you're not as popular or you're not as famous or so I really appreciate my relationship with Tara to know, you know, we've been through the ups and the downs and the big moments and the little moments. And so working on these songs, Lift Me Higher was really cool because I remember the line specifically. It says, those footprints in the sand keep me from ever turning back. And we think about like all those times, like, God have me. I can't go back. I can't go back to who I was. I have to be transformed. And so Lift Me Higher has wound up on 2 playlists, the New in Country and in Christian and Gospel, which was a full circle moment this year because KB was the artist that was on the face for the New in Country or the New in Christian Gospel. We got to see him at Bless God. So Smo, you know, got to shake his hand. I'm so proud of what you do. You know, you've been doing this. KB's been like a pioneer in this. And so for him to get to shake hands and be like, bro, we're on the same playlist, you know, like for him to have been on a secular playlist and do so well and then be on this Christian playlist and it be doing so well. That means a lot to me from the industry perspective. The song I think that means the most to me, like as a listener and as his wife, is Man on Fire. Because if you go listen to it, you're like, whoa, because you know what it's like driving down the road. Where am I going? Where am I headed? It's all metaphorical, but it's also we find ourselves in these existential crises, so to speak.
It's relatable too, right? Even the metaphor. I mean, Jesus has metaphor in the Bible.
Yeah. I've been lost trying to find my way home. So, Man on Fire is one everybody should go listen to. It's a very easy listening song, and there's a lot of rap. If you like rap and you like a good, clean, positive message, there's several rap songs on it.
I love that he didn't lose his identity in the type of music that he does, right? Like he has a clear message. Obviously, the message is changed in a good way.
Yeah.
But if you like that type of music, you can do it without, you know, feeling like, oh, I've got to cut the cord.
He's still got that Smo, like he still has the sass. He still has, and I feel like his conviction and his faith almost gives him, I mean, I know his conviction and his faith gives him a greater confidence because when you know you're not in charge and you're not the creator of your own destiny, and there is a greater will that you are responsible for being a steward to follow, it gives you a greater confidence in where you're headed. Because I'm not driving anymore.
No,
I'm,
exactly.
Jesus is driving and I'm in the passenger seat. And I think for him to let God be the boss and God be the CEO now, and he worked in that direction, everything has fallen in line in a clearer way.
Yeah.
Not easier, but clearer. And clarity is what's so needed in a time of confusion. And so I'm very thankful for the clarity that we've received by leaving this worldly expectation and living in a conviction that more aligns with our value system. Instead of giving the people what they want, we're giving the people what they need.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
essentially what a lot of people want.
Way more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Way more fulfilling.
I love that. I was listening to one and I pulled up and I was like, Travis, I was like, this is awesome. Like, like the old saying, this is the one that bought the bus.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a lot of those moments. I feel like, but like just with this new, I wouldn't say new genre, but just this new season that he's in and stuff. I just feel like even with the jail ministry and you guys working with the youth, and I just know, I feel it in my bones that you guys are going to be on so many more stages, because I feel like the message, God wants people to hear more messages. And what better way to do it than somebody that has been through it with these people, and that can bring them there, and through storytelling, through music, right?
And you don't realize, like, sin really limits who you're able to be around, especially if you're living a life of like a real habitual sin that's like really holding you down. I would say like drinking is probably like the best example I can have of like a habitual sin in my past that like probably held me back from my greater potential, and probably holds most people back. But that's an example that I can think of that, and people say, oh, but drinking's not a sin, depending on where you're from or what your viewpoint is. I'm not even trying to get caught up on that as much as when we were in an environment where drinking was what was the goal. Kids can't be around that. To a certain point, you don't want your wife around it. It becomes a very limiting environment. And so for Smo to be able to have music that all ages can listen to, all ages can be present for, that really means a lot to him, because the all ages shows, they have the most impact. If you're performing to a bunch of drunk people, they're not even going to remember you tomorrow.
They're not remember it. And there's been studies shown. I mean, I know, like even our pastors, like we minor on the minors, major on the majors.
Exactly.
Right? So we're not going to say, oh, you're going to help you drink, because we'll have a glass of water or something on a cruise, or a date night or whatever. That's one thing. But going and getting impaired and making bad decisions, that's when I like to say the devil can creep in, because you're not under your sound mind. Like it's almost like, and this is deep, maybe another podcast of our rabbit holes that we're in, but like, I would not let my kids, I did it as a child, play with the Ouija boards. I would not.
Oh man, we were just talking about Ouija boards yesterday.
Like, I was like, who's moving it? It's yes. Oh, I knew he liked me. We didn't know what we were doing or what we were possibly letting in.
Yeah.
But once you know better, you got to do better. My Angela says that.
Yeah.
And my kids, even my older kids, have gotten on to me because I'm really careful about what movies I let them watch and stuff. And I was raised, and I was an 80s baby, 90s baby. It was like, oh, you want to go to the movies and watch Jason Friday 13th? Okay, just close your eyes during this part, So, I mean, like, we let them watch, like, Halloween and stuff. I'm not saying we've never let our kids watch scary movies, but, like, demonic possessed stuff, I would not let that in my house. And my even when God gives you space, it's just a movie. I'm like, no. If it's demonic possession, they are not allowed to watch it in this house. Like, I pray for peace in this house, and I pray over my house.
Yeah, so why are you going to bring it in?
Because he's like, and I get some people hear this, like, oh, it's just a movie. It's not like it's. I'm not giving a foothold to it. If my spirit's convicted, and I'm my kid's mother, and I'm trying to protect their innocence and protect their childhood, I'm going to do what may not be popular, but I'm going to do what I feel is best to protect them. Yeah. And I feel like any parent should be there. Anybody that even that doesn't have kids, protect yourself, because like, I was one of those that was like, seance, let's go. You know, because
Yeah.
80s and 90s, that was the
It was
cool
the thing. It's the
Nickelodeon,
thing.
all your friends and dogs.
It's so funny you say that because when I was in like the 7th grade and like Ouija board, like my dad was a preacher and bought us a Ouija board. Like I skipped school one day and we were playing like it, but it's funny because Smo and I just went down a Ouija board rabbit hole yesterday, and there have been so many instances of bad things that have happened because of them. So you can go either way on that, you know.
Things can attach.
And I remember being like 7th or 8th grade, and there were a couple of girls, and they specifically were having a sleepover for a seance. And I had this just feeling in my stomach of like, I just don't think I need to be there. And you know, come to find out a bunch of crazy, dumb stuff, drama happened. And I was like, how funny that I knew just because of what these girls were getting into, like something inside me was like, you don't need to be a part of that. You know, and I was a kid then, you know. But then as an adult, I've not had that same discernment, and I've wound myself up around people that maybe I'm like, oh, I would have never chosen to be around this person. But now I'm in this because I didn't use my discernment and I didn't listen to that gut feeling, or I chose to conform to the world.
Or I
wanted to be popular. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll be the better. And then it's like, well, what were you doing there? Why were you having? And so it's, you know, we're very careful where we go and who we're seen with and who we affiliate with. And because when they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, you can have a picture that can be everything and you can have a picture that can be nothing. And we're learning that very much as a culture with photos when people's faces are cut out of them. You know, but so as a brand operating in faith now, there is a greater conviction of where we allow ourselves to go. Is that limiting? Possibly, but also it could also, like you say, open the doors to a greater audience by saying, sorry, we don't go to bars anymore. Or, you know, we don't perform at places where they're going to have a girls gone naked episode at the end. And
just not doing it.
It's tough. It's so tough. And, you know, people may be like, well, you're not any fun. Well, cool. I've been fun before and I was not happy.
No.
You know,
you just feel there's some places that you know where your spirit just feels tugged the whole time. Like you're there with friends and you're like, okay, I'm not having any fun. What am I doing? I'm 42. Like, no, I'm 42 years old. I'm not going to put myself in a situation on a kid-free night, which we get 4 every other weekend. The kids go to their dads. Like, we're not going to put our kid-free night in jeopardize that.
Right,
like,
exactly.
And I joke around, like, we'll let our hair down and have a good time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to put myself in places that I don't want to be.
No.
And it's going to make me feel like crap the next day. Like, I want to, you know, feel good and feel good about who I'm hanging out with.
Yeah.
And some of the people that we're acquaintances with, I want some we're close friends with, like, they're still in a season where that's just where they're at right now. And, you know, I pray that they change. But I can still love them from afar, but I can't constantly be on the go and want to go do because I'm just at the season of life where I'm totally okay with going to Gatlinburg, going to Dollywood, or sitting at home, or just going to listen to some live music over dinner, going back home, or doing breakfast with you. I love some day brunches. I always say day Nashville is where you'll find Megan, because I don't do night Nashville. I don't like the night bars and all the things.
You don't want to go get roofied in Nashville?
No, I don't. I mean, that's the thing.
It's a thing, I hear.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on the scene, the
allegedly,
allegedly in only, So I just don't find that fun. Like, I go to a sports game, things like that. That's fun for me. But it's honestly, to be really honest, I'm happy going during the day and being home at night. Like, I'm tired. I'm old.
Yeah. Well, and I've found this season of beauty in the duty of being a wife.
Yeah.
And if you are a wife for the right reasons, and if you are a wife in the way the Bible teaches you to be a wife, and if you are a wife the way Jesus wants you to be a wife, what you do for your husband as a helper, and if you're not married, like I wasn't married for a very, very long time, but you operate in, I'm already married to Jesus. You know, I'm already, exactly. So I have tried to view my responsibility as a wife as a great honor. You know, we own our house. I've never owned a house before. So it's like this excitement of like, wow, you know, I did everything backwards. Most women get married in their 20s and then they get a house and then they have their kids, or, you know, I didn't do any of that. And so, you know, I was doing mission work and other things. I was being a teacher and I hadn't met the right guy. And uh, so to be at a season where I'm 40 years old and I'm finally a homeowner and I'm finally a wife in the way I'm supposed to be, I have found a lot of excitement and joy
And peace with that.
and peace with this is my house. This is what I have domain and order and control. And my husband helps give that to that. And I don't have this overwhelming need to go seize the world and save the world anymore. If I am taking care of my home and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, you know, and I find myself sometimes, and if you're a person that lives probably a very normal life, you don't have an assistant, you don't have a makeup artist, you don't have a hair girl outside of your regular hair appointments, you know. So we're managing these things like housework and, you know, like
So I was gonna say that takes up.
Yeah. I love doing podcasts, but I had to get up and do my dishes and stuff first. So it's like these duties and these roles and these hats that we, and not to just, men have their own duties and their own responsibilities that they have to juggle and things. But finding the value in my home is our headquarters. Good is only going to come out of here if everything in here is good. So I've really taken a season where I've stepped back from being so SB the queen in your face, and I'm Sarah Beth Lewis, the wife at home that's taking care of my husband.
Yeah.
And I am like a supporting star figure for him in that I assume that role and persona publicly, but I have really leaned into my season of being a wife is what God called me to.
Do you think it's been easier since he's led spiritually now?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's a key component because I think some women may listen to this and be like, well, I can't, I have to lead.
You have to lead.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
You know, like having to lead builds resentment in your
Mhm.
marriage. It's not unsavable, but having to lead in faith, having to lead in masculinity is hard. But
Mhm.
your husband is leading in faith right now, and
Yeah.
and you're letting him.
Yes.
In faith.
And I think when a husband can be a very good leader and a very good provider and a very good protector, but if he doesn't feel like he has been provided and protected for and everything, he's not going to be able to do that for you. So having a man who has now put God in charge all the time, and through that, I know you and I've talked about the importance. He now has his men's group, and he goes and talks to other men about how they can be better men. And that has been so wonderful because sometimes as people, we don't realize what we could be doing better.
Yeah.
But then when we hear other people's circumstance or see our own circumstance through another person's perspective, we go, oh, okay, I could probably step it up here. Or I could communicate better what my need is because, yeah, there's a deficit here.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess my hope for people who have not found their person is be a person of faith yourself so that you attract a person of faith.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you are with someone who hasn't found their leadership with the Lord yet, you know, you just keep being an inspiration for them, you know.
And that's and I can contest for this. Travis believed in God, and he'll tell you this himself. Like he believed in God and loved Jesus, but he didn't really have a personal relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's one thing over the past since we met last time. Travis has been baptized and stuff, and it came like I thought when we first started dating, like I had to have somebody that maybe not was bent, you know, like 100% in charge of everything, but and they had to have a relationship. It was important to me. And I remember asking him at Bonnaroo of all places. This is what's so funny. It was at Bonnaroo and we were eating spicy pie pizza, and I said, "Would you ever go to church with me?" It's like our first 6 months dating. He's like, eh. He patted my leg. I never forget. He said, "It's my football watching days, and that's the day I rest. I have to work all the time." And I'm like, I just played it off, but I was almost in tears. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to turn my head because I'm like, I'm getting ready to cry. I'm gonna have to break up with him because he don't love the Lord.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember thinking that, but something just told me to stick with him because I loved his heart. His heart was good,
right.
and he loved my kids, and he loved me. And I didn't bring up faith or beat it in his head per se, but I would like turn on the experience, and he would watch Corey, and he fell in love with Corey in Murfreesboro because of his testimony, and just he could relate. You know, Corey has tattoos, Travis has tattoos, and he could just relate to him, and he just started like watching documentaries online, and he would watch that The Chosen. He's like, I know that's not like,
oh, we love The
exactly how the
Chosen.
Bible is.
Oh yeah, people get so.
I wasn't raised in church.
Yeah,
it puts like some characters, and I can understand the story a little
yes.
better. And he's always like,
it's an okay tool, I think, to supplement your faith, not sustain it, but supplement it. Yeah.
And try to get some context because we've never been brought up in it. And even like with like Corey at the experience, like there's things that I brought up knowing the Bible, like Church of Christ drills in those stories, those parables, those Bible stories when you're little, that really broaden it out. And he like does chapter by chapter, book by book. And I'm learning so much, even as a Christian that's been a Christian for a long time in church. So Travis is learning stuff, and he'll say something, and I'm like baby things. Like I found out when I was 3 or 4, and he's like,
it's so great. Yeah.
He's like, I'm new here. And I'm like, yeah, you are. So it's so cool.
I loved when you said the red words. What's the red words? Like, I love that. And I love to be, because I have that, like, I have an envy of some of the times, like when Smo comes to these realizations on things, because he was raised going to Baptist church and things, so he knows the overall message, but there are like some little details sometimes that he's like, man. One of my favorite things is I will always use Potiphar's wife as a warning to women. Some women are Potiphar's wives. They're going to do anything to get your husband to close enough to them, then they can snatch their clothes off and then turn it back on them when they don't get their way. Well, my husband being in the music industry, Potiphar's wives are a dime a dozen, And so it became an expression that I'd be like, she seems like a Potiphar's wife kind. Well, then to know the story of Joseph and to know what Potiphar's wife did to him and how all that played out, and to know like there are bad girls in the Bible doing bad things, and like for us to read it. And I grew up, I had the full Bible, raw, unedited, uncensored. Like, we had children's Bibles, but like we read the Bible. The whole version, no editing, or you're too young for this, or you shouldn't hear this yet. So I was very aware that the Bible is just sex and violence and, so many people taking advantage of each other and lying and stealing and cheating. And like, I was aware of all this. So for other people as adults to be like, do you know what's in here? Like, I was reading that when I was way too little, I think. I was like, and how he is about saying, oh, that's a sports day and stuff. I was probably the one with the greater church hurt as far as like wanting to go back into a church community. So Smo's when everybody wants to invite him to church. Everybody's like, come to my church, Smo. And he's like, okay. So I have been being much better about trying to go back to church. Because it's tough. It's hard to open yourself up to community and to that vulnerability and the accountability and the things. So we have been doing a lot better of trying to visit other churches and like trying to get out there and meet people where they're at in their journey with the Lord. But it's hard. It is very hard to step into a group of people.
It's so beautiful too when you do find that group or the church. I think it's what I like about the experience. Like it's big enough, but not too big.
Right.
That if we have a basketball tournament or something and we watch it online, we're not met the door the next time.
Strangers?
Stranger, you missed a good service, because that brings up
So much
from
guilt. So much guilt.
church before.
Don't do
Because,
that to
yeah, because then
people.
you start showing up for other people instead of showing up worship the Lord. Like if I don't come, they're going to get mad. Da, da, da. Like I have to come knowing that I'm there to worship the Lord and not because Peggy Sue over there may get mad if I don't show up to Bible study. Like I need, you need accountability. You need to show up and things like that. I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean. Like just especially if you have hurt, where it's almost like a works only versus faith.
Yeah.
What works are you doing? Then that makes you just kind of be resentful of church and not want to go. And that's why I kind of did online for a while.
Yeah. And digital discipleship. Yeah. That's it. We go back and forth between CBC and 2819. Yeah. And then I'll catch whatever is on otherwise, but it's tough.
It is. It is. So you just have to find your church, like church hop. Go to a couple churches and see. There's great people in every one. There's people that are going to hurt you in every one because they're human.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's why you have to go somewhere where they're speaking the truth. And I always tell people, I don't care what denomination you're in, as long as it preaches the word of God and it seeks
reading your Bible.
That's good. And that's why you need to stop minoring on the minors and majoring on the majors. What's keeping people out of heaven and put them into hell. Like, stop with the gibberish, everybody. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's so tough for me because, and you know this, being raised Church of Christ, it's so hard to find worship that feels
you're not sitting.
That feels appropriate, and through my mission experience, I feel like I've got to worship God in like real scenarios. And when you experience that and you come to a place that doesn't feel real, it's like, it's tough, but when I was in Honduras, where we were specifically, one of the towns that we were in, there was so much witchcraft. Girl, they were hanging doll babies and stuff from our school. Like you would pull up and there would be like hanging dolls. They would take, Tang, like the drink Tang, and freeze it in baggies, and you bite the corner and just suck on this little frozen rock of Tang. When it's hot, like this is the most delicious popsicle you've had. The lady poisoned the whole batch and came and sold it at our school specifically. So our whole church got poisoned. So like I have lived in scenarios where I have been a direct recipient under the attack of real witchcraft, real Santeria, real stuff. Yeah. So it was very scary, and I had to have a bodyguard, and we would pray over our school. We anointed it. I mean, it when you feel real evil and you feel the Holy Spirit in the same place, and you feel the Holy Spirit drive the evil out, it's really hard to replicate that experience here. Not to say it's not possible, and not to say it's not happening every day, but I have lived a time in my life where it was very obvious who and what was evil, and we were there on the ground fighting it head on. And I think that's why when I came home, it was so easy to fall back into like, what does it matter? Like this is so easy, yeah, everybody, over there, and then, but when I was in a classroom setting with students and realizing like the real evils, and we do know the real evils that are in the world and everything, you have to realize that the witchcraft and it's all very, very, very real. It's real.
It is, and it's scary. And for somebody to say it's not is so naive. It's so naive, and you're not putting yourself in protection. You're not protecting.
You're not reading your Bible if you don't believe it's real.
Yeah. Come over you and your family, like it's real. And that's why some people are like, "Oh, it's just you're just a tinfoil hat, rabbit hole reader." Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get there's some conspiracy theories that it's like, well, okay, I can't buy that one. I can't buy that one. But there's a lot that's coming out now with the files and everything else. And me and you talked about this. God bless the truth seekers, because there's a lot of truth seekers out there that are willing to stand up or even take a bullet.
Yeah.
Kurt did. God bless his soul. And the people that are actually trying to speak truth and getting shot or getting condemned or
canceled.
Propaganda canceled. having a slur or
Smear campaign.
that's
Mhm.
going against them. Like, it's true. And we need to pray for protection over the truth seekers. And
Yeah.
you, as Christians or as believers, I think we need to pray that God gives us discernment which preacher to listen to, which church to listen to, which influencer to listen to, because there's a lot of people out there, like the Bible says, wolf in sheep's clothing, and our radars are going off. Like, something's been triggered. Like, it's not right. This person's not speaking the truth.
Yeah.
You get that feeling. There's a reason to get that feeling.
And you have to believe that I know what I'm talking about enough, because, like, an example, if you like fans of Smo, if you've ever watched Big Smo kicking it in Tennessee, he chops the chicken off of a head. Or chops the head off a chicken. I said that backwards. He chops the head off of a chicken.
Just because he's country.
Hello, that is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Everybody that called, John Rich called, hey, did you really chop that chicken's head off? Somebody from the head of Warner called, did you really chop that chicken's head off? No one is ever calling and going, "Kicking in Tennessee is like the coolest song I've ever heard written." They're going, did he really just chop a chicken's head off? So he showed them what he's willing to do. When you show people what you are willing to do to be seen, that is the compromise that ends up selling your soul. It's showing more of your body this time.
Yeah.
It's showing more of this. It's letting them have a little bit more of that. Like, it's this selling your soul thing is.
And Smo didn't even mean it like that. Or did he? I don't know.
You put that video. Why would you put chopping the chicken's head off in a video? For attention. And what is attention?
Got you. So that's when it came in. Okay, so you're looking
so the Kicking It in Tennessee video, originally they had made a video like 2012.
Okay.
They had made a video how to prepare chicken, how to cook a chicken. Yeah. And so back in the early days of YouTube, it was like weirdo, like do whatever on YouTube. So they had done a tutorial. PETA, of all people, makes them take that video down. Well, as his middle finger to PETA, he took just the chopping the chicken's head off part, drops it in the Kicking It in Tennessee video. If you watch the video, I mean, it's so quick. It's so quick. With a shout out to ICP, who's going chicken hunting, which is another rabbit hole you can go down.
Yeah.
Everyone that reached out to him, it was not
even that
Kicking It in Tennessee is like a call to the soundtrack of the people of the they're like, you really cut that chicken's head off?
And it was a quick, like, to
a hillbilly like me that worked for Tyson's, like, what are you gonna chopping chicken's head off?
Yeah, that's
but to a big music producer who knows that the industry is thriving on chicken's blood, loves seeing an artist willing to lop a chicken's head off in their music video.
And if you know what we're talking about, there's a dark.
There's a very dark side to fame. If you want to be big and famous, you're going to have to make compromises. And those compromises are what cost you your salvation. And that is how you sell your soul to the devil to be famous. You show your whole body. You show your whole everything. You do whatever. You humiliate yourself.
We get some blackmail on you that if we can't control you, we'll expose. They like to do that. Yeah.
So Smo knows that compromise is what gets you attention. Now, he really unwittingly was not compromising.
Yeah.
But when you look at it pulled back,
he was like,
who paid for it? The chicken did. Yeah. And now as 6-year vegans to look at that, and now as Christians who know how much blood it takes to make the music industry what it is, that chicken was the first compromise. Thank God when they got Smo into these other rooms, they realized they can't compromise him past certain things.
No, I was going to say, he's pretty...
Women were objectified. Yeah. His marriage was compromised. His relationship with his children was compromised. Like there were a lot of things that have been sacrificed, and real harm has been done in those relationships. Almost his health.
I mean, he literally almost died on tour, which caused the revelation of his health journey.
So Smo has been one to be very bold to say, I chopped a chicken's head off in a music video, and it got me a lot of attention. And through that attention, so if you're wanting attention, what are you willing to compromise? Now, people who are out eating chicken, all this stuff every day, all the time, maybe don't see anything greater, but people who are in occult, people who are in Santeria, people who are in witchcraft, they know chicken's blood it's very valuable. And it's very powerful when used for evil.
I didn't really even know the extent of that. I mean, I knew some things that we had talked about prior, but like
when you look at it that way, it's scary.
That's I knew the conversations we've had off camera about some things, and I'm like, holy crap! Like, and especially now that I'm researching stuff and I'm learning and I'm digging into history, American history, not even world history. It's world history. They are some elites. They are some powerful people doing some very un-Christian things, very bad things to children, and all this stuff. And I think we're finally starting to awaken to that.
Yeah. And I mean, people don't realize like witchcraft is used for very strange things. Like a lot of people are doing beauty spells, which I have even seen now when we talk about distraction and we talk about this self-care. Like when we grew up, you just washed your face. You wash your face, you moisturize. But now there are these rituals. Look at my morning ritual. Get ready with me ritual. And the amount of attention, especially for women, that's being put on us to put attention into our vanity, and what that extreme is causing women to go to. Like that's the whole.
That's the things that I really pray about, especially me and you both in content creation.
Yeah.
We're not saying now, my pastor sometimes will be like, if you're doing content creation, I'm like, yeah, but you don't really know. Not all content creators are bad, and we're not vain. But I do like get ready with me sometimes, and I do, but it's not like that. But
no, it's not like
we're not
like who's the fairest of them all, you know.
Content creators or people that are doing that. I know exactly what you're saying because we've talked about it before. It is very easy in this industry to compare, not feel good enough, feel like you have to put yourself in debt. Steal your
that's
joy,
a tricky one.
And not be happy with who God has made you to be.
Yes.
That's when it becomes being like just for entertainment to being unhealthy.
Yeah.
And what Sarah Beth said right there, I really want you guys to listen, because TikTok and social media, I mean, we get paid, you can get paid off of it. You can make a living off of it.
Yeah, I do.
You have to be careful because it is, social media is a good tool, but it's also an evil tool. That's why people like ChatGPT. Yeah, ChatGPT can be evil or it can be good. It's whatever you use it for.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, like, you've hit a nail. What I can't think of words.
I've been talking backwards now too. The enemy knows we're telling the truth.
No, but you have to be very careful. There's a fine line in that, and especially women. Hear my heart here. Women compare themselves and just do not feel good enough. And you find yourself, I guess what our pastor was talking about is that you find yourself in a wormhole, and it's meant to. They know that women's, what do you call it?
Doom scrolling.
The doom scroll, but it's like a serotonin boost.
Oh, yeah. Your dopamine hits.
And you have to be careful because like if you use social media as a platform, you have to be super careful not to get in the doom scroll and find yourself hours and hours on there. Because I can be editing a video, and even though I try to be very disciplined, I'll be an hour in a loophole down a wormhole, and it might be educating, but it's still a waste an hour of my day.
Exactly. That's where that self-control.
And that's where the distraction comes in. So there's things that you may be doing that are not simple, they're not bad, But when they become an obsession,
Yeah.
or you do too much of it, or it's keeping you from being who you're called to be and what you're supposed to do, that's when the reality of something's just not right. We need to fix it.
Yeah. Is it becoming your idol?
Idol.
We can idolize, you know,
video on
yeah, we always seem to put idolatry on
Yes.
people, on idolizing other people, but you can idolize other things.
Yeah.
And even to the point where I think as a culture, even among women, we have confused personal hygiene
Yes.
with this whole, like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
So there is this yeah, there's this responsibility to be good stewards of the vessel that we are in. And through that, how we use our time has to be, it has to be important. Yeah, and it has to be precious. We have to view our time as precious, because God tells us, like, we are just a vapor and a mist. Like, what our time that we have here is so fleeting. That getting caught up in the dissension, getting caught up in the comparison. And I'm all for a debate. Like, it's great to have a good debate and discussion and a disagreement even, but these fights that serve no end, that have no solution in this. You said it earlier, being catty and, you know, being, people are contrary just for the sake of the argument, and it just gets so aggravating. You can get so caught up in that, because I'm the queen of loving to go read some comments. I'll see a post that is the most ridiculous. I'm like, what are people saying? What are they saying? What are they going to say about this?
What are they saying? Where's my popcorn?
What? And that's not any better. It's not any better.
Because you're not commenting. You put time, you put effort, you put energy. Now your mood shifts from being thankful and positive to being like, ooh, drama.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be out of the drama.
And your gratitude, maybe you're taking.
And that's the thing too. Like, oh my gosh, there's some seasons, things that I'm going through in life, and the hardest thing for me that I've done as a Christian, but it says in the Bible, we're commanded to do that because it says it's like heaping coals on the is to pray for your enemies and
pray for them.
And I look at some people and I'm like, how can they be so evil, or how can they get by doing this? This is a blatant lie. What they're doing is wrong. Like, when is God going to intervene in this? And it's just like, sometimes I feel like God's just like, just I'm showing you, just trust me, pray for them. And I do, because even the people that have hurt me and that have caused chaos and confusion in my life, I essentially want their hearts to be restored to God.
Absolutely.
And I think as a Christian, if we really are Christians, we should want that. So even the people that I may necessarily have my blood pressure go sky high when I see them or have to deal with them, I still pray for them. And that's hard. But I still pray for them.
Absolutely.
That God changes their heart, because if God changes their heart,
then we'll get along.
We won't have the season of confusion and fighting and all this crap. And there's things that happen to good people all the time where it doesn't make sense. And you're like, how can this happen when this person's doing this? And then this person, like, I'm living a certain way, or I'm doing this, and like, why? Or when is it going to be my turn? Or It's so easy. And that's what the enemy wants you to do.
Absolutely.
It's the blessing that's right in front of you.
And that can happen too with what's going on right now with the files. Because I, have assumed this personal role that I, work for The Economist or New York Times or something. And I'm like, I am very good at stalking the FBI. Is really missing an opportunity with me. I don't want to work for the FBI, but I have a skill set that they could greatly use.
We'll get fired, girl, because we tell the truth too much. And they'll be like, we're tired of this mess. You've exposed too much light onto this situation.
Like, I hear some people are starting private investigation firms. Maybe they need somebody to hire now. But with the files, finding yourself to the point that I'm looking for truth.
And you're so fresh.
And I'm not a victim. I'm not. And then I'm feeling all these ways. And I'm treating my family and the people in front of me. And I have now had this like obsession of when it's all I want to talk about. And it's like, ooh, hold on. When it's not yes, we should all. There is a healthy way of being involved in things. And there's a healthy way of getting information and having information and education. Without it ruining the blessing that's right in front of you. And I think the victims would feel the same way. The victims would be like, please don't let my don't let, and that's
Yeah.
the bad things that have gone for me. Like, don't let my bad story ruin the rest of your day, you know? But I feel like we have a responsibility as we seek truth to not let the yuck
Ruins what we
diminish,
have.
yeah, and make what we have so
But
good in
that's
front of
why
us gross.
these people, you can say the Illuminati or whatever you
Yeah.
guys want to call it, but that's what they want us to do. They want us to be confused. They want us to be against each other. I always said for a long time, it's no longer about Democrat Republican anymore. It's good versus evil.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's where we're
That's way easier.
That's where we're
Way
waking up.
easier.
It's like they want you to be fighting over this. They
Dark
want
and
to
light.
this confusion and us fight and
Yeah.
have families at the dinner table. Like, I've had family members that we've almost had knockdown drag out in election years because like you don't view my way or you don't view this way and all that. And this past year, and I will say it's probably after Kurt got killed that I think a lot of America woke up and we were like, holy crap, we have been puppets and we have been made to fight arguments that wasn't ours to fight, and we have been made to disagree with family members and friends that we normally wouldn't disagree with. And I think people are starting to wake up to that, to be like, we have been blind, and now we have light, and that's when we're praying for the truth seekers. And it's those people that we have been fighting against the whole time. It's not been Democrat versus Republican. It's not been Christian versus non-Christian. Like it's truly an evilness. We're fighting.
Evil.
Yeah, and that's why light is what exposes darkness, and we just need to keep shining light. And whether it's talking about it on our little podcast with me and Sarah Beth and our little rabbit holes and wormholes we squirm into, but we talked about some really good things today, or it's listening to a podcaster that speaks truth, or going to a church that's Bible based and speaks truth. There's truth there if you want to find it. Or listening to Smosis' new album, speaks truth. Whatever you do to get introduced to it and you start seeking more of it in your education, that's where you grow. And I feel like that's where it's at.
And if there's anything that I can challenge people who are at a point where maybe they're trying to seek clarity in chaos, especially the people you follow, because I've had to step away from a lot of celebrities and stuff that I've looked up to and just thought they were so amazing and all these things. And if you want to know if the person that you're following is a person that you should have in your life as an influence or whatever, use the fruit of the spirit as a way to really gauge if that's a person you need in your life, because someone may be saying they're a Christian, but they're not practicing modesty. Or someone may say that they're a Christian, but then whenever they get the chance to get the microphone, they just talk very vulgar. Or they may have the microphone and say they're a Christian, but then you have video evidence of all these other ways that they're behaving, even after a proclamation of repentance. So if you are in a position where you are following people and you just can't figure out where they're standing, peep the fruit. See if the fruit that they're putting out matches the message. And if they are exuding love and joy and peace and goodness and kindness and faithfulness and gentleness and self-control. And I will tell you, there are not a lot of people in the world that are practicing those virtues outright and openly. And when you start using modesty and you start using propriety as your standard, that you allow the kind of people that you're allowed, or that you allow yourself to be around, you're going to figure out really quickly, like, there aren't people who are sharing your same conviction. And it is, we can hope that we plant seeds so that other people will find their faith and their relationship with Jesus. But outside of planting seeds, our responsibility is to tend to our own harvest and tend to ourselves. So we're really trying to go out there and plant seeds, get the ideas out there to people, let our faith journey hopefully inspire others just through the way they walk, how they can watch how we walk. But that's what I'd really challenge to people. Not to say that I've got it figured out and all that, but if they're not, if they're not checking these simple boxes of propriety, of modesty, and the fruit of the Spirit, then that's a really good measure of if that person is someone that should have influence in your life. So.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. And as we're getting ready to wrap up, I'm gonna let Sarah Beth tell you how you can follow them. In his new journey, but that they're doing, because I just think it's amazing. Like, God is opening doors and avenues of places and touching hearts that, I mean, like the youth that you're working with in the jail ministry and the people that have heard or still have yet to hear the music, right? And to just have that playing. I can't wait to just hear even more testimony on our next podcast.
Yeah, no, to see what else changes.
Yes. Great. And so definitely share this. But I want you, how can they download his music?
Yeah.
Find you guys the website and the book. And the book too, because the book is great. So just tell everybody all the things.
Yes. So you can find us at therealbigsmo.com. On Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everything, all of those. It's The Real Big Smo. He does go by Smo as his artist name. So if you are on Spotify, there is a Big Smo and a Smo. So go follow the Smo for all the new stuff. But Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, he has like a huge Pandora following, which I think is great because I think Pandora is an amazing streaming platform.
It's like the MySpace.
Yeah, I love it, right? Yeah, you got your curated list. You don't want to let it go. So shout out to the Pandora listeners. Thank you. And yeah, so Facebook, we're in the process of selling Smolicious. So if you're interested in starting a food business, we have all that available for sale. Everything. Top to bottom, everything got to go. And we're also selling our bus. So we had toured in this bus, turned it into a tiny home, and now we're letting it go. So one of the things that we've been called in this stewardship, the season of stewardship, is just let go a lot of the extra stuff. Sometimes downsizing.
It takes up your time. If you're not using them all the time.
And that's what being called to be better stewards with our money and our finances. We really felt like a call to get rid of some stuff, you know. And Smo's done very well throughout our relationship. He always had the nice cars and the cool stuff and everything, and we've tried to let that stuff go. And that way, like you said, you have more time to use it better. So if you're looking for us out and about, we may be doing some shows toward the end of the year, especially I know September, we have at least 2 dates that people are talking about. So if you would like to have Smo at your event, we're looking for all ages, family friendly, no alcohol kind of environments, recovery fest type things, any faith-based organizations. If you're needing entertainment, those are the kind of things that we're moving into now. So I haven't started a big push for booking. We're kind of trying to wrap up Smolicious and still very much promoting the album. We're shooting music videos coming up. So there'll be more visual content for Smosis. And yeah, then I guess we'll see if we get any more shows booked. So you may be looking for some tour dates coming out.
And also, you know, he's written books.
Oh, yeah. And so the autobiography came out in 2019. We've recently gone and done a flash sale. It's only $5 on the website now. I'm trying to move those copies. It is dated because it is before the pandemic, a few things. But it does talk about Smo's journey as a child and how he became Smo, essentially. And so it's a really good story for that. It's like pre-meeting me, but after the TV shows. So it goes all the way up to his heart surgery and his life a little bit after that. I did edit the book. And as an editor, I chose to edit myself out.
Yeah.
In 2017, you know, we didn't know where me and Smo were going to go. So I was trying to be like, I don't know if I want to be in this book forever. But now that, you know, now he has this story that he can tell everyone of his childhood and how he got into music and how that became a career for him. So autobiographies are $5 on the website. Go get one, therealbigsmo.com. And congratulations on your book.
Girl,
man, as someone who has worked on a book, because the thing about Smo's book started out as like unapologetic. I'm gonna tell everything. Here's my tell all, this all, that all. First of all, I don't know anyone in his fan base that was going to read 500 pages. Yeah. It was like a Harry Potter book. Yeah. It was huge. And I am the kind of person that if that person's not in my life anymore, I'm not going to talk about them in a platform or anything. Also, I wanted Smo to walk away from his autobiography with a sense of integrity and dignity that did not shame even maybe the people that probably deserved it a little. You know, we wanted it to be where his story did not make anyone else look bad. And where any person who maybe did have any responsibility and things not going the way they should have, that they, they're unnamed and get to live their life without being, drugged through the mud.
Yeah.
So I was very intentional when Smo started this book that we did not want it to be a tell-all, put everything out there. It's just not for that.
Nobody deserves. Nobody has to know everything.
No. And if you've been through a divorce, the last thing that you want anyone to do is read about it in your book forever.
And it's he said, she said, and the truth. I mean, there's good and bad on every part.
Yeah.
And nobody, honestly, unless you're just a drama fan, nobody really wants. They want to read like what made you, how you got through adversity, and who you are now.
And how can your journey maybe help them in their own life? And that's what led me to talking about your book. I really love that your book is helpful to anyone that reads it. It's and I understand an autobiography is to tell the story of your own life, but in the goal of writing a book, you offer information that's helpful to other people. And I think that that's very valuable, that people have an opportunity to read something that they can apply directly to their lives. And so I'm very proud of you for that, because I know that was such a labor of love to do a book.
You did such an awesome shout out. Get you some friends that will see your success. They'll clap and they'll shout it out and post it on their social.
I love my cool friends. I love my cool friends. I'm so thankful. And I'm thankful for you for always sharing your platform. You had reached out to Smo back before our season of wanting to open a food trailer or anything. And you've always just been so open to be able to let us share our message with your people. And so we're very thankful to you and Travis for that.
Anytime. Our platform is y'all's platform anytime. And we talked about today, having Travis and Smo sit down and talk about the new season that he's in to kind of get more of a one-on-one perspective with him and share some of the new music. Yeah. Because they want to hear the music.
Love it. I love it.
Well, guys, we're gonna wrap up today. It's always a longer show than normal, but we love that. We love that. So if you stuck with us to the end, I hope it blessed you. I hope it blesses somebody. Make sure you like and share it, and we will see you guys again at the next podcast.
Thanks for having me. See ya.